Hello, everyone. We are going to try something a little bit different today because I'm getting old and also I want more views. So I have right here over in this corner 7 different bottles of Ardmore. And normally what I would do is I would try to line all of them up here and I would just taste them out, and then at the end of that I would collapse and try to ward off death for the next hour or two. We're not going to do that today because I want to be able to take a break somewhere in the middle to carb up and have a big old glass of water. Because I just can't power through the hour and a half flights anymore. So we're gonna split up the flight. We are gonna do basically 3 bottles in this video, and then another video which you will see going up later today, maybe tomorrow. We will do the other bottles. Now, this first video and these first 3 bottles are going to be pre-2001 Ardmore distillate. That is important because 2001 was the year that Ardmore switched from direct fired stills with coal, I believe, to steam. And I want to see how they compare. So what I've got here is basically, I mentioned this before, that a friend is trying to clear out his stash. There's some cork floating around. That's okay. Trying to clear out his stash for moving purposes, and he had a whole bunch of Ardmore lying around. So I bought all of it off of him. And these 3 were again, so I have 2 92s and I have a 2000. I have got a 1992 18-year-old from Liquid Sun. I have got a 1992 18-year-old from Kintra. And I have a 2000 14-year-old from Asta Morris. I will provide further information down below. But the important thing to know... I'm going to see if I can get this cork out. The important thing to know... Get out of there, you. Get out of there, you. Is that... there was an important thing, and I was going to tell you, and now I've forgotten it. Right? God damn it. I'll think of it later. There's something important. But yeah, I am going to taste through these. You will not be able to get these particular bottlings anymore unless you're looking at auction, obviously. But there are still some pre-2001 Ardmores out there, and these should give you a good idea of how they should taste. I remember. These are all bourbon. That is the important thing. So let's just go through these. Liquid Sun, 1992, 49.1% ABV on the nose. God, I love Ardmore. It's just kind of its own thing. Yes, there's peat, but it's not Isla peat. This is totally its own kind of both farmy and stinky and rural peat. But at the same time, it's very desserty. So imagine like peated, like vanilla brownies. There's a little bit of chocolate in here too, but mainly vanilla brownies. But then there's like some wet dogs and some like cows wandering around and like like mud and stinky rural stuff. Maybe some sheep. They're covered in mud. Clumps of grass. Some twigs, some leaves. But it's all kind of held together by that, vanilla brownie thing. Some florals as well. Oh, lots of florals. Some quite beautiful, like, blossoms happening. Even some honey on this. buckwheat honey, wildflower honey, black pepper. There's a little bit of a peaty, some peated fruit happening. There's like a tiny hint of like peated, some kind of like peated sour orange thing. Almost like a peaty Grand Marnier note. Let's go with that. Maybe some cider apples that are also peated. It's lovely. It's just a really complex little nose. The peat is not, this is not Lefroy. This is not Ardbeg. We're not, like, in the upper echelons here. We're, peat-wise, we're kind of at Bowmore levels. We're a touch above Ben Romack levels. Oh, more flowers. Almost edging into potpourri now. Jeez. But then we're right back to, stinky wet dogs, sheep. This is, yeah. I adore Ardmore. It's just such its own character, and I really wish. I'm always delighted to try independent bottlings of it, and I really wish the Beam Centauris of the world would let it come out and just show its thing. It's beautiful, weird, stinky rural nature to people who don't have access to nerdy independent bottlings. All right, on the palate. Got a big old whiff of lemon, just as I was taking my sip. This is pretty damn good. Very good. Still tasting it. You know what? I love Ardmore, but I also have a prejudice about Ardmore because I tend to see it as like a high floor, low ceiling sort of distillery. Like it's I don't think I've ever scored an Ardmore below like an 84, and that was an official bottling. But it's hard for me to think of like 90s that I've found in Ardmore. So I tend to think of them as always being consistent, reliable in the middle. This is forcing me to reconsider that. Wow. Killer. So up front, you've got a big fat explosion of vanilla fudge, flowers everywhere. Drizzle some honey on it. You've got some clover honey, some like sour, slightly bitter forest honey happening. Flowers, all, like up front of in the mouth. Some fruit, green apple, cider apple. A little bit of a Grand Marnier, a little bit of lemon. Then it has, as it heads back, the peat and the barnyard kind of start to peel off and kind of invade your senses. So you're getting, beautiful burning peat fire, but you're also getting your stinky wet old dog, stinky wet sheep, cows, mud, clumps of grass. Black pepper. Closing on some nice kind of stewed black tea, English breakfast tea notes, black pepper. But all that stuff on the mid palate and the flowers. The kind of rustic but also beautiful character of this, it just sticks around. Like it's like someone like turned on the sustain pedal. It's still going. It's still going. And that's, I don't know. I mean, could I beg maybe a hair bit more complexity from this? Yeah, sure, but the finish is maybe a little bit more texture on the palate as well. Yeah, maybe, but the finish is just tremendous. Damn, I want to try these others, but so far, like, I am on board with pre-steamed stills Ardmore. This is lovely. All right, I'm going to give this some water. I like a squirt and a half. God damn. This is already fun. Like, I'm already more excited about this just because I know I'm going to be done in 20, 25 minutes as opposed to like an hour from now. Okay, moving on. That was Liquid Sun. We are moving on to the Kintra. And again, I will put cask information down below. Not that it matters because it's not about these casks. It's about, if you happen to stumble across firing change Ardmore in your travels. Nose in the Kintra is much more cramped. Interesting. So, from the direct fired thing, I was expecting these to be more toasty and more, more pastry driven, more cereals. That's not really what's going on with these. They are more floral, actually. This is quite floral. There's like some wildflowers. There's some blossoms. Even a little bit of a violet thing. Fun. But then you're getting like some grainy stuff. What is that? I wasn't even getting really grains on the Liquid Sun. I mean, these are the same vintage. They're probably like sister barrels. I'm getting Lucky Charms on the Kintra. Intense, like Lucky Charms with a little bit of that Grand Marnier thing dumped on top. Is there peat? Yeah, but it's less, and it's more of like a floral peat. And it's peat, but there's also like smoke. There's like a little bit of a campfire note happening. Am I getting there's vanilla fudge, yeah. Am I getting my stinky, muddy old dog? Not really. We're much more on florals with this one. So a little more cramped, but I'm not mad. Let's see what happens in the palate. The palate, though, we're not that far off. Damn. That sound is folks working in our basement. Interesting. So in some ways, this is a lot like the Liquid Sun, except the finish doesn't sustain quite as long, and there is a much more of a floral presence on this. And it's more grainy. So yeah. Arrives on vanilla fudge, but also some chocolate fudge, mud. And immediately you were getting flowers. Blossoms, wildflowers, some potpourri, a little perfume. Black pepper. Irish breakfast tea. A little bit of the wet dog thing, but we're much, on balance, less wet dog, more more tea and more flowers. Very peppery on the finish, some tea tannins. A little bit of an overt woodiness, but it's definitely under control. Honestly, the texture on this, in terms of like how it's, peppering up my mouth, might be a hair bit better than the Liquid Sun. The finish just isn't holding on as long. It's pleasant, it's nice, it's definitely past par, but it's just not doesn't have the same substance to it. Still a lovely, lovely old malt. I'm going to give this its own squirt and a half of water. And let us move on to the Asta Morris. Yes. 2000, 14-year-old, but also, I believe, a bourbon barrel. Yeah, I mean, austere, steely. I mean, this really smells like I'm nosing like a Loire Valley white wine or something. It's just, it's very austere. It's very mineral driven. That's fascinating. These are all very, very different on the nose. I am still getting that kind of green apple, cider apple thing. Still getting a little bit of the Grand Marnier thing. Vanilla fudge, yeah. But there is like a intense rocky minerality to this that I feel like I don't know, like Samour Blanc fans would probably be into this. Yeah, there's like a honey thing to this too. But it's like, it's unfriendly honey. It's mean honey, but you appreciate it. Florals again, blossoms, but not anywhere near as much as the Kintra. Also a little bit of like a campfire thing, but more like the ashes versus actual campfire. A little bit of mud, a little bit of stinky dog. Stinky grass. But yeah, I cannot get over the presence of rocks, crushed seashells, gravel, flint on this. Okay. Really like we're in peaty white wine territory with this new nose on the palate. As the youngest thing here, you would expect it to present the most peaty. On the nose, not so much. On the palate, yes. On the front of the palate, it behaves a lot like the Liquid Sun. You get some like croissant-y pastry stuff, your vanilla brownies, some florals, some honey, and then it kind of explodes into pepper and campfire and peat on the middle of the palate. Very, very peppery. I kind of like it. More vanilla. Good old-fashioned southern sweet tea. Some baklava in there. Some like nuttiness. Mud, yeah. Florals, yeah. There is some minerality to this. There's some seashells and rocks and stuff. But a lot of what I was getting on the nose is now translated straight into black pepper. Like really coarsely ground, earthy black pepper on the back end. It's a good finish. It's a good mouth presence in general, except it's a little bit short. We're not hitting my lungs like we were with the others. And the finish, although the pepperiness, the spicy character of this really holds on for a while. A lot of the other stuff kind of fades, well, a lot more quickly than the Liquid Sun. But also a very, very good whiskey. I like the flowers on these. Like, I normally don't think of Ardmore as being a particularly like flower-driven whiskey, but these kind of are. I mean, that could be good or bad depending on your own personal taste. Like, if you still have nightmares about mid-80s Bamor, I mean, this is not that bad. We're not anywhere near that territory, but you're getting some flowers with these. If you don't like that, don't seek these out. But if you are a fan of stinky floral malts, if you are a fan of Borderies cognacs, floral mezcals, you just keep these on your radar. Keep these on that, the search you do on your auction sites or whatever it is you people do. Back to the Liquid Sun. This is by far my favorite. Going into round 2 here. On the nose. God damn. And now I am getting lemon peel, tangerine peel. What is that? Fruity pebbles. This smells like rustic fruity pebbles. So imagine taking a bowl of fruity pebbles out there and outside, and instead of putting milk in there, you put like mud that stinky dogs and sheep and cows have been walking around in. And that's kind of what this smells like. Plus a little bit of peat. Oh, that's awesome. I love I love this stuff. On the palate. I mean, golly gee. Every time, like, I try this, fresh at least, relatively fresh, I think when it arrives, oh, that's fine. That's a nice whiskey. And then, like, it just holds and holds and holds and holds, and I have to be like, oh, wait, I have to take this a lot more seriously. Much more citrus driven when you add water, but God, it's such a lovely balance, and it's still going. Jesus. Yeah. So the main thing that adding water to this does is it starts to bring out some more citrusy elements, more lemon peel, more like almost a bergamot character to this now. You still got your stinky dog, your mud, your rustic peat, your flowers, your vanilla fudge. Honey, big time honey. You're just putting a little dab of like citrusy stuff in there. Even a little lime, nice. Jeez, black pepper on the finish. The teas on the tea character of the finish actually gets more complicated. You've still got English breakfast tea, but now there's like some oolongs kind of creeping in there. This is a fabulous Ardmore. Jesus, is this a 90? This might be a 90. I'm going to give this a 90. I'm 90 plus. This is a 90 plus. Probably the best Ardmore I've ever tasted. 90 plus out of 100. And I don't even feel like I'm stretching with that. That is a fabulous whiskey. And we shall see if the young'uns in the next flight can do any better than that. All right, moving on. Let's see if we can keep this under a half an hour. Kintra. This was the really floral one before. Ooh, it's still very floral, but now it's starting to converge on the Asta Morris. Now the rocks and the seashells and the flint have come out. And now I am nosing a lovely Loire Valley. Not really like a Chenin this time. It's almost more like a cold climate Muscadet or something. Because there's also like a yeasty thing. There's a bready thing. It smells ashy, but it's still got that really floral dimension to it. So let me come out and say this is a way better nose now that I've added water to it. It just feels like it's opened up and it's saying hello to me at last. These are pretty whiskeys. On the palate. Oh, honey. Did I mention honey? Lots of honey now. On the palate. Not quite. It's the finish. It's a very good finish. It's a very good finish, honestly. But it just doesn't hold on for as long as the Liquid Sun. And that's making the difference. Oh, but there's some like nice ashy, peppery stuff in the finish. Yeah, this is also very good. Floral, minerally. Citrusy. Like I'm loving the combination of like Fruit Loops and Lucky Charms and rocks and flowers with like mud and stinky stuff. Although we're not getting as much of the stinky animals on this as we were on the Liquid Sun. Also, just a fabulous example of Ardmore. The peat is also coming out. This one feels more peaty than the Liquid Sun. Sorry, the peat is more integrated on the Liquid Sun. It's more overt on the Kintra. God damn, this is still good though. 89. This is an 89 pointer. Yeah, geez, okay. 2 high-ass scores straight in a row. The 18-year-old Ardmores are killing it today. Last 8. Asta Morris, 14-year-old, 2000. Still very, very minerally. I mean, it smells like a Saumur Blanc, like a Loire Valley Chenin Blanc. But it's also more stinky. Well, it's more peaty. There's more of the really big peat thing that was happening on the palate of this. That's more present on the nose. And I am getting more barnyard stuff. I am getting more stinky cows and stinky sheep. Maybe a stinky horse running through there. Why not? Stinky donkey. Wet dog. Vanilla. And certainly some graininess. Oh, this is fun. These are fun. On the palate. It's the mouth presence that is letting this down just a little bit. It's such a delicious little firecracker in lots of different ways. It's not hitting my lungs, and just certain aspects of this fade a little bit too quickly, but otherwise, man, is this fun. On the palate, kind of where it was before. I feel like the pepper is maybe a hair bit more integrated now. There might be a little bit more of an integrated graininess thing to this, but it's still the peatiest of the bunch, the most peppery of the bunch, and probably the one with the least impressive mouth presence. Put it that way, but it's still really good. We're in the mid to high 80s with this. What do I score this? It's not an 88. Let's just call this an 87. This is an 87. It's a very, very good Ardmore. But it's also kind of like, this is the level of quality I expect from Ardmore. Like, this is where I think it lands most of the time. So, the fact that this is the worst thing here should not be any indication of, like, this is the worst thing here, and it's still an 87. So, just a reminder, if you haven't tasted any Ardmore recently, because you've forgotten, because you've been distracted by all the Ardnahoes and the Ardnamerkins and all the other Ards and hot stuff out there, like, you need to give Ardmore another good try. Like, it's an enormous distillery. It's what, 5-6 million liters a year of alcohol? That doesn't mean it's bad alcohol. So yeah, if you see these in your travels, or really any other Ardmores, worth a shot. And yeah, that's it. 87 for the Asta Morris, 89 for the Kintra, 90 plus friggin' points for this Liquid Sun, which I adore. Thanks for watching, and cheers.